Well, over the past 2 years, a multinational joint task force has weakened the terrorist group Boko Haram along the borders between Nigeria and Niger and in the islands around Lake Chad. Now, in Niger, a camp opened last December in the southeastern city of Diffa to de-radicalize Boko Haram fighters and their families who surrender. VOA's Nicolas Pinault had access to this camp during a recent visit to Niger and has this report.
These buildings in Diffa will go unnoticed if not heavily guarded by soldiers and having barbed wire on top of the walls. This is a transition camp for ex-Boko Haram fighters. About 150 people live here, mostly ex-militants, and next to them their wives and children. This center opened in December 2016. Behind the walls, some faces seem threatening, but there are teenagers' faces too, not really fighters. Ibrahim is one of them. Boko Haram kidnapped him when he was 12. He studied the Quran for 2 years, as taught by the militants before escaping.
It was a Friday. My dad told me to go to the fields and he would join me after the prayer. 2 men came on a motorcycle and took me. They said I could become a delinquent.
Niger authorities say you cannot fight Boko Haram only on the military level, and that fighters must be reintegrated into society. A larger and permanent deradicalization center should open in few weeks, according to Diffa Governor Dandano Mahamadou Lawali.
The government of Niger pays with its own money for the center. We made lots of efforts. This complex will have an administration, dorms, etc. Not only will we de-radicalize them, but we will also provide job training, as many joined Boko Haram because they were poor.
Residents of this camp will soon be transferred to the new center, but some would rather be free. Fatima Ibrahim is 20. Boko Haram kidnapped her 4 years ago near Maiduguri, Nigeria.
I hope I will return soon to Nigeria. I was forced to marry Boko Haram fighters and my parents do not even know I am here.
Many fighters interviewed by VOA deny any wrongdoing or minimize their participation. Malam Bukaradam used to be a teacher before joining Boko Haram. He claims he served as a doctor for the militant organization.
I left because of tensions among the group. Shekau militants and the Mama Nur ones fought 6 times. It's because of ideology. Islam is a peaceful religion. A good Muslim would never kill people.
Ex-Boko Haram fighters describe the group as weak, but say it will take years to defeat the ideology that militants spread across the region.
Well, Nicolas Pinault now joins me in studio to tell us more about efforts to de-radicalize former Boko Haram fighters in West Africa. Welcome and thanks for a nice piece there.
Thank you for having me.
Now, the biggest challenge has always been, they say, the stigma, especially with the communities. How are they dealing with that?
So right now, what you saw in the report is like it's a transition camp. So they're going to go to a permanent one, which is like 50 miles away from where they are right now. And you're right, there is stigma in the community because some of them, they're still viewed as a threat to the community, especially the men. But for a big part, women and children, they were forced to join Boko Haram. Some, they were kidnapped, for example. So I think you have really 2 different scenarios, especially the men versus the situation of the women and the children.
Yeah. And this de-radicalization, does it also involve some kind of counseling? Because if people have been traumatized, they also need some kind of help.
Exactly,
right?
And you're going to have also like religious leaders who are going to be in the camp, you know, to talk about the right way of learning Quran. They're going to have some psychologists. I mean, that's what the Niger authorities would say. And also, I think it's very important, they're going to have a job learning program because like the governor of Diffa will tell you, like, most of them, they joined Boko Haram because of poverty, not because they really believe in Boko Haram's way of learning Quran, but because it was a way of making money because of the attacks and ransoming people.
And very quickly, in terms of how do they really establish that somebody's clean now? You won't go back. Do they have?
That's why they've been in the center for the past 5 months. I mean, it's very, very difficult because you don't really know, you know. But I think most of them, they left by themselves, Boko Haram, because I think The movement is kind of weak. According to Niger authorities, right now you have between 4,000 and 6,000 Boko Haram fighters all across the region in Chad, Niger, Cameroon, and Nigeria. So I think that's why they left mainly.
Thank you very much, Nicolas.
Thank you.
Well, that's Nicolas Pinault with a great report there. Is from VOA's French to Africa service. Now,